Don't complain about the results you're not getting from the work you haven't done.
Hello there, it's me, Steve Mellor, and welcome in to GrowthReady, the podcast that allows high performers to reveal the reality behind what it means to ready yourself for growth, the personal and professional challenges along the growth journey, while also allowing the high-performance executive coach in me to satisfy his curiosity toward what drives optimal performance. On this episode, we welcome in Larry Long Jr., who is his own CEO. That's Chief Energy Officer, and energy is only where things begin for this highly motivated, intentional action taker whose greatest growth has come from doing the work to know what he truly wants so he can be ready to do the work required to go get what he truly wants. Okay, we are back for yet another installment of GrowthReady, and I am excited to be reintroducing a gentleman to the show who really doesn't need an introduction, mainly because if I were to really try to introduce him, I'm never going to be able to captivate that kind of energy and the kind of insights that are going to do it justice. But what I am going to do is immediately hit Larry Long Jr. with a question that he's never been asked before. That's the beauty of this podcast, is that everybody gets asked a question as we get started that they've never been asked before. So Larry Long Jr., what does it mean to you to be growth ready?
Wow. Thank you so much for passing the mic to me, Steve. I'm happy to be here. Growth Ready Part 2. Happy to be back. When I think about being growth ready, the key word that comes to mind is investment. And I'll expand. Investment in my skills, investment in my readiness of the business being able to go where my vision, and I've got a grand vision of where I want to take the business to be ready. And you know this from a sports perspective, you've got to invest the time, the energy, the resource, surround yourself with the people that can help you get there. And that's what instantly comes to mind.
Investment, that's the first time. I love that word. I love the idea of how you immediately give it that context of it's not enough to simply be invested. It's about, I'm hearing as well, what am I investing in? And I think that's such an immediate insight I'd love for us just to go into a little bit more detail around, because something that I'm hearing in the way you responded to that is that there's almost some form of awareness or development that needs to occur for us to go from, hey, I know that I need to be investing in myself. I hear that all the time. I need to be invested. I need to be invested. But it's pretty clear just from the way you answered that question, Larry, that in some way, shape, or form, you know what you need to be investing in. So how does one maybe find that clarity between, hey, I know I need to be invested, to, oh, shoot, what do I need to be invested in?
Well, along with investment, I'll throw out another I word. It's intentionality. And I didn't do this all on my own. From my time playing baseball, my parents always encouraged me, write out your goals and be specific. In the business world, it's very similar. And I needed a coach to help guide me to outlining crystal clear, what are my goals? What's my vision? What do I specifically want? Dream big. No, bigger. And that's the journey that I've been on. And right now, I've got some really BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious dreams and goals. And it is fun. So it's intentional investment. And it's no mystery, Steve. Generally, at least from my experience, you get out of it what you put into it. And I had this conversation with my 15-year-old son who wants to be a soccer star. I said, Trey, he's Larry Long III, don't complain about the results you're not getting from the work you haven't done. And for me as a business owner, right now, I'm a solopreneur. I've got 3 employees, and you're looking at all 3. It's me, myself, and I. Essentially, I get out of it what I put in. So I'm making the investments in coaching and specific coaching. I've got a speaker coach that's helping me with my products and my services, really helping me not just to map out, but to execute in terms of the lanes I want to run in software sales and I want to run in the speaker lane. what products do I want to offer? I want to offer communities. That's where my strength is. Well, how do I do that? I put in the time, I put in the money, I invest in my community, I invest in those people that are around me, and voila, I guess it's magic. Everyone wants that silver bullet and that pixie dust. I've yet to find it, but what I have found is that the more you put in with intentionality, the more you get out.
Yeah, yeah, and intention is such a it's such a consistent word with all high performers, and it's this word that I continue to not only use in my coaching, but each and every time I meet with folks like yourself, and you use this word intention. I always love hearing really the genesis of how you yourself define intention, because it's such a subjective word. I feel it's one of those words that growing up, I've provided this insight probably a couple times on the pod. Is like I had all these sports coaches that were just like, man, what good is intention without action? What good is intention without action? And these old school guys, right? You probably got coached by the same guys, brother, and you sort of hear it, and then over time, life and a little bit of wisdom, as it starts to trickle into your brain, you start to think of it and you go, well, I've seen action and I've seen intentional action.
That's right.
And those are two different things. Those are two different things. And when I listen to you, Larry, that's what I hear. I hear a man that is busy in many ways, but that word busy can be so deceiving sometimes when it lacks that intention. And so for you, I'm curious, like through those investments with coaches, with all these different insights that you've been able to gather through these investments, as you've created that intention, how have you been able to just simply keep that head up when so much of the solopreneur world, especially, is based on this word rejection? You're getting rejected, you're getting disappointments, and yet it sounds to me that you've created enough intention that can always rise above anything that maybe gets in your way.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. And Steve, you started off with a question. Here goes the question that really helped me clarify, what do I want and where am I going? Essentially, it's, Larry, what do you specifically want? If you had a clean slate, what does your life look like? And I pinch myself each and every day, Steve. You won't believe this, but in elementary, middle, and high school, I was the kid that used to get sent to detention for talking.
Hmm.
I know you're like, no way, not
Yeah,
you, Larry.
must be a different guy. Must be a different guy.
But now I get paid to speak and serve. I pinch myself every day. So my goal is to be a global speaker who serves audiences, helping them to understand the greatness that they have inside of them, which is why I wrote my book, Jolt. Get zapped into intentionality and rediscover and believe in your inner greatness. Because sometimes as we go through life, and you talk about the wisdom, I've got more than enough grace. We get older and wiser, or at least wiser, but we stop believing in our greatness. Think about when you were young. When I was 7, 8 years old, I thought I was going to be an astronaut. I thought that I was going to the moon. I thought that I could be anything in the world. And somewhere along life, when you get hit, it's like, oh, I can't do that. Well, why not? So the question is, Larry, what do you specifically want? I want to speak and serve. I want to do it internationally. I want to do it with my family. My wife and I just came back from Singapore. That was intentional. I'm taking my kids with me to NSA's influence in Arizona. That was with intention. I'm going across the pond to Telford, England in October.
Let's go.
Oh, please don't wake me. I'm dreaming. How is little nappy-headed Larry Long Jr. back before my barber got pissed off? You and I got the same barber.
Same guy. Same guy.
How am I traveling around the world? I'm working potential opportunities in Malaga, Spain. I might be going to India. Come on, Cletus. And it came from that intention. When you know where you want to go, it's a lot easier. It's not easy, but it's a lot easier to navigate. So speaking, serving, internationally, family, as well as golf. And I got to play golf in Singapore. Last year, I played golf twice in Bali. I played golf twice in Dubai. I'm taking the sticks with me to Telford. It might be a little bit too chilly, but I'll have to go ahead and put the nappy on.
Take a third layer, brother. Take a third layer.
But essentially, I'm living a dream. And the thing is, Steve, is that anyone can do it. So often we tell ourselves a story, and I was guilty as charged. I was afraid to say what I wanted because it sounded so ridiculous. Like,
Mm.
who am I? I'm not going to be traveling around the world talking. Are you me and my gold mic? There's no way that's impossible. And if you look at the word impossible, it actually spells out I am possible. So
Mhm.
anyone listening, anyone viewing this, I encourage you, you can do it. Now, it's not going to be tough. You need to answer the question, what do you want specifically? And I encourage you to dream big. There's nothing that's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been fortunate enough now to sit in an audience and hear you relay this message to a crowd as I did it at NSA earlier this year, brother. And it's captivating, it's inspiring. And for me, as someone who has done the work on himself, to know that, hey, there's more inside of me that for whatever reason I've yet to get out, and I wanna get it out. Let's say you're the person listening right now that's still a little bit stuck. And because there's something about the even just the title of your book, which I love, it's almost this assumption, not almost, it is an assumption that we have greatness inside of us. It's saying, like, listen, that we all do. We all have greatness inside of us. My question to you now, brother, is when someone sat there and being like, "Well, I don't see it. How do I see it?" Like, I appreciate that you believe that it's there, but let's say someone sat there right now saying, "I don't know what I'm great at. I don't know what is so great about me." How might that person just sit with that idea and then immediately start to get some traction in this thing that we call life towards getting this greatness out of it?
I love it. And you already hinted at it. The power of our questions, Steve. If we're already asking the questions of, I don't know what I'm great at, now we have a place to start. I'm going to start by asking, what do you enjoy doing? For my son, it's video games. Hey, son, can you make a career of playing video games? I know some people, and I would laugh at it, but there's people playing video games for their career.
Mhm.
Wow, who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
Well, how do we work backwards to getting there? So the questions I'm going to ask is, what do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? What have you historically been good at? What are some of those untapped areas that for me, I was good at talking and it used to get me in trouble. Now it keeps the lights on.
Mhm.
It helps me travel around the world. Who would have thunk it? So are you a people person? Are you analytical? Maybe you're a contrarian. Maybe you go against the grain. There's value to that. And I truly believe that everyone, that's why I wrote the book. I almost called it Unstuck. We
Mm.
talked about it. And here goes the history behind it. I know we're looking forward, but I was in a place where I was stuck. I was
Yeah.
in corporate America. I was trying to figure it the freak out. Where am I going in life? What's my purpose on this earth? And I needed to jolt myself. I needed to get unstuck. And the book was for me. And I'm just honored and blessed to be able to share it. So for anyone who's wondering, what am I good at? What's my vision? What is my greatness? I encourage you to keep asking the questions, slow down, in order to speed up. Sometimes, and I'm guilty, we go so fast that we don't pause. We don't stop and smell the roses and really think through with intention. I want to answer this question. What am I good at? What do I want? How can I blend those skills and gifts and values that I have with career and opportunity? It's out there. Believe you me.
Yep.
Yeah, opportunity is knocking at the door.
Mhm. It is something that I when I hear these insights, I'm thinking from the perspective of our listeners, I always go, "Why not me?" Like, why not me? Because there's something that you said right there that really struck a chord. It's this idea that we have the right to do what we enjoy doing.
That's right.
Like, that is something that, for whatever reason, we've allowed ourselves at times to assume that that cannot be the case, that earning the money, having the career must come before doing what we enjoy doing. And hopefully people noticed it as you were explaining a question or two ago about what you do while you're doing some of this professional work. You're not just traveling the world doing these professional conquests that you're setting out to achieve. You're taking your golf clubs with you. Like, you found a way to say, you know what? I'm gonna further anchor in the commitment. I'm going to further anchor down what it is I'm doing and why it is I'm doing it. I've got this passion on the side that it's like, hey, I want the golf clubs to come with me. I want the golf clubs to come with me. And what better reason to be able, well, what better way, sorry, to be able to, just almost create that accountability, if you will. It's like, I don't just want to speak around the world. I want to play golf around the world. And I think there's something about that though, man, like that personal component. If you can somehow align a personal vendetta, a personal part of yourself in the professional space and just say, hey, if I were to be this successful, let's say in the professional space, there's this personal component to it as well that gets fulfilled because of this professional commitment that I have to myself too.
Hey Steve, I just flew into Chicago. I'm in Chi-Town, and after you and I get done, I'm about to get my golf on. And for your viewers and listeners, it's not fair because Tiger Woods is my cousin. Now he's my long lost cousin. I mean, they call me Larry. Hit it in the woods, but don't bump too soon. But essentially, it was me saying that's important to me. My family's important. I want to travel and see the world. I want my family to travel and see the world, and I want to play golf. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not happy if my fun meter is not off the chain. And
Right.
that's not a good place because life is too short. Um, I'm going to make sure I live the most out of my dash. My dash started in 1978, June 15th. And I'm going to make sure that whenever that last year is, who knows when it is, but I'm going to make sure I've lived life to the fullest. And for me, it really comes down to, and my intention, here goes a question I ask myself each and every morning. It's a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And what he says is life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing to help others? And at the end of the day, if I can't answer that, Larry, what did you do today to help someone else out? One person. If I can't answer that, what am I doing? Like, I hate to shame people, but Larry, shame on you. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your day that you didn't help one person today? So, with that intentionality, I'm helping, I'm serving, I'm looking for opportunities where I can guide someone else, help them, even just put a smile on their face. My two Uber drivers this morning, one at 4:30 in the morning in Raleigh, the other one when I got here in Chicago, just asking about themselves, asking them questions, showing that I care, giving them that eye contact and that dedication that I care. Who knows if that made a world of difference? But
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I do that with each and every person that I encounter.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, this is what I love about having folks on the show that I've had the pleasure to get to know for so long is I can kind of sit here and be like, hey, yeah, he's true to his word, folks. Like I've experienced it. I've seen it. This is how he lives his life. And something that I really want to speak to here, brother, is that, and this is something you spoke on when I watched you on stage and something that I immediately applauded you for the moment I saw you a couple months ago is that you're a man with a plan when it comes to the physical side of life right now. Is that, and this is something that we don't talk about on enough on this show that I've decided recently intentionally that, health needs to be part of high performance. It just does. There's a component to this idea that we're talking about of like, hey, if I want to pursue greatness, if I want to be ambitious, if I want to be successful, I have to actually be here. I got to be here. If I'm not here, then how can I do all these things? And so, if you wouldn't mind, brother, like, could you just speak to the role in which your health has played in terms of where you are, where you have come in the last few months, and where you intend to sort of continue to go with this work?
Yeah. So, college athlete, played baseball at University of Maryland, go Terps. Stayed somewhat fit, and then kids and life be lifing, all the excuses in the world of why I'm eating a lot of fried foods and not working out. And what's his name? Chip Eichelberger says it best. He says, you can't outrun a Big Mac. And he's right. I tried. But my doctor over the years told me, Larry, you're at a weight you're overweight. You need to do something. I said, okay, doc, and I'm trying to lose weight. That was just talk. Talk is cheap.
Mm.
So I'll never forget October 15th of 2024. My doctor said, Larry, if you want to see your daughter walk down that aisle, You've got to make a change right now because you're at a place. I'm 46 years old. You're at a place where you're either going to go this way or you're going to go that way. And we know that our health is our wealth, but knowing isn't doing. So I said, Doc, I'm ready to take action. Before I was just talking about it. My wife committed and joined me on this journey to making sure that what we consume, once again, we're intentional. We're investing in putting in the right foods. And it's not just, it is physical food, but it's also our mind, our body, our soul, and our spirit. What are we consuming? Are we swiping and swiping those shorts ad nauseum? That's trash. I mean, I hate to say it, at least for me, it's trash. It's not good. It's not harvesting good. And once again, what you put in is what you get out. So I've lost 32 pounds since October 15th, and I feel better than I've ever felt. I was able to wear it well and kind of shake it off and show up with energy, but I was tired. Now I'm full of energy. I'm still taking my vitamins, and it makes a world of difference. So yes, if you want to be your best self, it really starts from within. And I made an observation. We went to the Durham Bulls minor league stadium yesterday, and I'm just going to call a spade a spade. We have an overweight, unhealthy epidemic here in the US, and seeing how other countries eat, and it's and I was a part of it. I still am. The processed foods, and you can sugarcoat it as much as you want. But for me, I made a decision that I want to be here as long as I possibly can. And I'm going to take the action. That's once again, when you know better, hopefully you do better. I'm going to take the action to make sure that that's what actually happens. So I encourage folks, if you're challenged like I was, find a partner, ask for help. We just wrapped up mental health awareness. It's the same thing with your mind. It's the same thing with your feelings and your emotion. We're all humans. And sometimes we feel like, I know I felt like, I've got to be Superman. I got to do this on my own. Survey says, nah, good luck doing it on your own. How has that worked the last 11 years, Larry? It hasn't worked out well, but now I've got a partner. I've got a support system that's cheering me on. Hercules, Hercules. Give me a kick in the behind like those old school coaches. And it's made a world of difference. And when you receive it, I believe it's your responsibility to pass it along. So I'm sharing encouragement, and I'll share a word real quick. My mentor, Dr. Willie Jolly, he shared this message 2 years ago, and I needed to hear it. What he says is that sometimes we have to lean on the faith and the belief that someone else has in us until ours kicks in. And he delivered that message. That was for me. I'm now sharing it to someone out there who needs to hear that. You can lean on the faith and belief that I have in you until yours kicks in.
I mean, I still want to talk for another 20 minutes, but that would be enough to like mic drop and just say, hey, Willie Jolly, we appreciate you. Thank you for the quote. Mic drop is done. But I want to keep talking, so we're going to keep talking. But there's something that you said that, man, firstly, thank you for just sharing that story about your health journey, and it continues just to validate why we need to be having this discussion more specifically on this pod. And I think when I hear the way that message was delivered from your doctor, it allows you to shift from, as you put it, from knowing to doing. And I talk about this constantly in my work, but I'm also so aware of it in this world that we're in right now, that we've never had more access to knowing than ever before. We know we can know whatever we want to know at this point. That's right. But the fact of the matter is, I think we have a doing problem. I think we really do. When you consider the amount we know versus the amount of action that comes from it, there's a whole world of perception. There's a whole world of perception. There's a whole world of analysis paralysis. There's a whole world of just imposter syndrome, all these kind of things going on. But the doing component just continues to be the issue. And we're a podcast of doing. That's what we're about on this show. And so for me, Larry, I'd love for you just to almost anchor down here and further emphasize to our listeners the power of associating knowledge that we know about ourselves specifically, but associating it in something that is so deeply rooted and personal, the way your doctor did there with your daughter, like, what is the power for a person to actually anchor that knowledge into something that means so much that the doing almost becomes inevitable?
It takes, once again, asking that question of why.
Mm.
What are your core values? What's your vision and why? I was privileged. A month and a half ago, I hosted an action and accountability mastermind. And for a week, we came together. It was a power hour. We set our intention in the beginning. We shared what do we want to accomplish? What are we noodling on, doodling on, and just really procrastinating on? Why? What's the reasoning behind it? What's the expected result? And then let's get after it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's stop journaling about it. Let's do it for 20 minutes. Let's come back for halftime and let's discuss how did that feel?
Mm.
The breakthroughs that we had. I mean, we had a young lady, Anaga, who was able to craft her keynote, and she had been noodling on it, but she was able to craft her keynote, and I heard it. She presented it at Speaker Speak last week. I'm so proud of her. So we did 20 minutes of focus. We turned off all the distractions on our phone.
Mm.
We stayed on Zoom so that we could see each other and we could support each other. There were people making phone calls that were afraid to pick up that 500-pound phone. There were people sending out proposals, people following up on their Talkadot leads.
Mm.
We were getting work done. We talked about the feelings and then we got back at it again. Let's get back for another 20 minutes and let's do the daggone thing. So if you're taking action and you don't know why, I applaud you. But when you know why
Mm.
and you know what and you know how and you take action, oh my goodness. In the words of the great philosopher J.J. Walker, the results are dynamite. And I mean, the breakthroughs that we had, and I left inspired. I was the one who was leading it, but
Mm.
they left me inspired. And two of the young women, they continue 3 times a week. They continue to do the power hour where they're supporting each other. So
Oh,
I'm encouraging you. There's a reason why team means together, everyone achieves more. I encourage you to shed that ego, find someone that you can support and that can support you because when I had coaching, let's keep it real, I was getting stuff done because I don't want to be a slacker. I don't want my say do ratio to be say do ratio. I want to say what I'm going to do and I want to do what I'm going to do because I know that that's going to get me to where I want to get to. And sometimes it's tough to swallow, to take your vegetables,
yeah.
to swallow the frog, I think they call it. But when you do it, it's amazing the results that you have, and everyone has the opportunity to do it. We all, that's the great thing. The question is will you make the choice to do it? We have choices.
Yeah.
We wake up every morning and we can choose where we spend our time, energy, and resource. Choose wisely.
Choose wisely, and that's a great way for me to circle back to something that you said earlier about consumption. You know, there's the literal version as you put it there with, you know, your health and what you're putting in your body. Then there's the other side of it too when it comes to what we're looking at, what we're reading. And I really want to shift now into using the word that's been used so much, intentionality. And for anybody sort of looking at across their day and saying, how am I using my time? What am I exposing myself to? I would love for this to be an opportunity maybe for you just to simply provide the insight of what does Larry Long Jr. consume? Like what does healthy consumption look like to you in order to see some of these results that you've not only seen, but that you clearly intend to keep seeing?
Yeah, well, number one, consumption of the word. I'm a believer, so
Mhm.
I'm in my Bible. Number two, it's consuming my wife and my kids because for me, it's family, family first. My guilty pleasure is LinkedIn. I probably spend an unhealthy amount of time on LinkedIn, according to the report I get every week. Larry Long spent this amount of time on LinkedIn, but I believe that I am sowing seeds and I'm creating relationships and I try to give. I'm very careful with what news, I guess you could call it bad news, I consume because for me, it puts me in a bad space. It just gets me in. I have friends that send me all the shorts and the reels that get into politics and get in the. And I know that I need to know enough to be dangerous, but I don't need to hear the daily. It's a business that really thrives off of bad news, and they know that bad news sells, and I cannot, for my own mental well-being, I can't consume it. So I try my best to bob and weave and steer clear because I know that that's going to put me in a place that's just it's not supporting me with where I'm trying to go. It doesn't do a body good. So very intentional there, but I'm human, so I'm not perfect. And I realize that. And one thing that I really worked on 2 years ago, this was 2023, was giving myself the same grace that I gave other people. And my coach shared, you know her, Coach Kristen, she said, Larry, you are so uplifting, so positive with everyone else. But when it comes to you, womp womp. And I know I'm not alone, but that was a battle that I had to come to realize that it's not serving me by beating myself up, by getting down on myself and just my relationship with failure. And it's been a challenge. It's probably been one of the biggest challenges I had is to realize that, Larry, it's okay. You made a mistake. You didn't hit your goal. It's okay. Brush yourself off and let's get after it. Brush yourself off and let's think about what lesson was learned and what lesson was earned as we go through this journey. And I just want to share that to other people. But in terms of your specific question about consumption,
Yeah.
I encourage people to be intentional, be aware, do an audit
Mm.
of where you spend your time. Are you on TikTok, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter,
Mm.
LinkedIn, and is it serving? It's either supporting you
Yep.
or it's not. There's rarely any in between. And then think about why. Where do you want to spend your time and why?
Yep. So, yeah, I think that question around how is it serving you is such an important part. It's like something I wrote down as you were talking is knowing what you need to know. And we were talking about that earlier. Just we've never been more equipped to know. Like, we've never been more equipped, and yet everything you're saying here is just like to almost to what extent and then to what cost. Right? It's like there's a cost at a certain point, and you want that to be obviously a positive cost. You want it to be like a, hey, this if I'm gonna make this time to know, it needs to be time well spent, right? If the cost is gonna be time, let's make sure that everything I'm exposing myself to is good. Otherwise, the cost suddenly now becomes I'm knowing things that I don't need to know, or I'm knowing things that aren't serving me, to go back to your point. And like exactly. And so like the idea of just how to know enough to serve what it is you're trying to achieve. And it goes all the way back to the way you answered that initial question around investment. It's just like if we are leading with an awareness of how do we invest in ourselves, why do we invest in ourselves, when do we invest in ourselves, if we're asking those powerful questions, then we start to get a much clearer radar of, hey, this is what I should know. This is what I should be consuming. This is what I don't need to know. This is what I don't need to be consuming. And it's such a fine line, but it starts with that awareness. And that's what's so clear in this whole 30 minutes so far is you are incredibly self-aware, but you've had to work on it. Like you were self-aware to a point in life. You knew you, but then when you decided what you wanted, you almost had to redefine and shift what you knew about yourself and why you knew that about you. Like, does that sound about right?
Oh, for sure. And it took a third party, an outside perspective to come in and ask some very probing questions
Mm.
that, uh, I mean, I'm not afraid to admit it. There were tears in some of my coaching sessions
Okay.
because we went places that I had avoided.
Mhm.
I'm a human being and I like to stay in my comfort zone. I mean, I'm wearing a nice, comfortable sweatshirt. I feel so good. But what I found, and you hear from people all the time, your greatest growth comes from being outside of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
So, how can you intentionally get comfortable with being uncomfortable and continuing to put yourself in places and spaces that will stretch you for that growth?
Mm.
And I'm about to do a sales training for a team here in Chicago, and I'm super excited because I'm leading with SME, and most people say SME is subject matter expert. Well, I'm flipping the script. This is Larry GPT coming at you. What I'm sharing with you is that for the S, you've got to be strategic. What is your strategy? Are you playing checkers or are you playing chess? For the M, it's your mindset. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. The great Henry Ford shared that. What's your mindset day in and day out? And this is a sales team. Now, the E, on your mark, get set. You know what it's like to get off the blocks. Yeah, if you're running sports, you got to go. You've got to execute.
Mm.
You've got the strategy and the game plan. That's good. You got the right mindset. Now you got to take that first step. And so often, and I know I'm going to touch a nerve because there's someone right now who's noodling
Mm.
and doodling on an idea, whether it's asking the boss for a raise, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's taking that big jump, that big leap. This message is for you.
Mm.
I'm encouraging you. I'm not sponsored by Nike yet. Just do it. Just do it. You're going to learn. You're going to capture data. So stop. You called it paralysis analysis. Stop writing ad nauseum and take action and let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, you're going to have a great story to tell and you might have your own book.
And man, I love the acronym firstly. Like I really appreciate the acronym. I can see why that's going to be a sales meeting that anybody in the world of sales would want to be in. But the idea that our mindset is the bridge between the strategy and the execution. I think that is what I just heard in that acronym. It's just like, okay, if we're going to go SME, strategy, yes, execute, yes. And so often that's the conversation. The beginning and the end of the conversation is create the plan, go do, create the plan, go do. And yet again, here we are at that bridge between the idea and the doing, intention, mindset, whatever you want to call it. There's work to be done to bridge those two components. If it was as simple as the plan and the doing, we would all be planning and we would all be doing, and we just not. And you said, and I appreciate this so much, is that someone like yourself, when you see you portrayed on LinkedIn, when you see the work that you're doing, it would be easy to say like, man, this guy's got it figured out. And you've said it a number of times. I am a human being and I am imperfect. And I love that about all my guests, is that we're willing to all own that to an extent. It's just like, hey, listen, there's a lot of stuff that's working, but there's a lot of stuff about me that, hey, it is in progress and it probably will remain in progress. And that's okay. But the question is, what do I need to show up and give myself the best chance to be ready for what it is I want? Going back to what it was you said right there at the beginning, brother. Like, if I'm investing in what it is. It's going to get me ready for what it is I want. And so this is where I think it gets really interesting, is that here you are, someone who specializes in the world of sales. You've been there and done it in corporate America. You're now doing it as the mentor, as the coach, as the leader that you are in that space. What is it about, when you think about the mindset for anybody working in sales or just for anybody doing this thing that we call life? What is it about the mindset that for you right now, Larry, what is it about your mindset that is allowing you to get the return that you're getting?
It's in the name of your podcast. Growth. It's a
Mm.
growth mindset. And we hear this all the time, but for me, a growth mindset is I'm kissing a lot of frogs. I'm making a lot of mistakes, and that's okay. I'm enjoying the process. I'm learning. I'm capturing so much data of what I enjoy, what I don't, what I'm good at, what I'm not. Where do I need to outsource? And speaking of outsourcing, I brought on a virtual professional 3 years ago. It's changed my life. For so long, I wanted to hold on to it. I'm going to do everything. I'm Superman. Well, my coach said, Larry, being Superman, you're going to be missing out. You're going to be doing all these activities that aren't the best use of your time. Are you stupid or are you dumb? She didn't use those words, but I am. But it took me to get out of my comfort zone and realize that there might be someone else. So when it comes to mindset, so often we tell ourselves a story.
Mm.
We're telling ourselves a story that just isn't true. I think they call it fake news. And we believe it. I mean, I know that I was believing my own hype of it's got to be this way and I've got to do everything. No, you don't, Larry. Well, I can't do that. Well, why can't you? So it's once again having that contrarian, and sometimes you need to get it from the outside perspective because sometimes we're so close to it that we start believing our own BS. I know I was. And then having someone say, well, Larry, I'm curious. Let's explore. Let me ask you a few questions of why is that? And then as I started answering, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. What am I talking about,
Right.
Willis?
Right. That's it. That's it. And, but again, it's that self-awareness, it's that willingness to say, I'm going to let somebody else in. I'm going to let somebody else talk to me. I'm going to let somebody else help me see what it is I'm not seeing. And hey, if you want to hear this entire episode as a promo for coaching, you're in the right space. But
It
the end of the day,
it's so powerful.
it's
It's
so
so
powerful.
powerful.
It's
Yeah.
so powerful. It is.
Now
But
you gotta have the right fit, but
no doubt.
when you find the right fit, the results are amazing, and you see it. You see it at the top levels of any industry,
Mm,
whether it's athletics, whether it's theater, movie, whether it's professional. I mean, the top levels, they generally invest in coaching, they invest in mentoring, they invest in guides, Sherpas that
mhm.
help them know when to zig instead of zag, and folks that have been there, done that, and can provide them with wisdom and advice and say, hey, have you thought about this? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm unabashedly saying you should explore coaching. It can do a mind, body, soul, and spirit good. Actually, great.
Mm. And something that you said early on in this conversation, you talked about the lanes in your world that you've created for yourself, how coaching helped you sort of see that in the sense of like, which lanes do I need to be operating in? But then you even went one step further and explained to us how you have multiple coaches now helping you in each of those lanes. And that's what I love about your story is it's just like as the branches start to appear, as the lanes start to appear, how can I further double down on the very philosophy that has gotten me to the point of even creating those lanes in the first place? It's like if support got me here, why would I suddenly now push support away? If anything, I should be getting more of it. And I love that about you, and I love that about your story. As we start to wind down here and wrap it up, brother, like for me now, looking ahead, you're a guy that has been so comfortable publicizing his goals and his outlooks and letting the world know, like, hey, this is who I am and this is what I want to achieve. And we can call it manifesting, we can call it whatever you want. For me, I just hear it as a public version of intentionality. And that's something that I'm certainly seeing, and I know many folks are seeing. So with that being said, I would love for you just to leave our listeners with now what does the next 6 months, 18 months, 5 years, like what is that trajectory of time that you're always looking ahead to when you think about this is what's coming next and this is what I want to try and achieve in that time?
Yeah, short term, expanding my products and services. Right now, I'm a motivational speaker. I do some coaching, I do some training, some consulting, some LinkedIn influencing. Well, Larry, let's expand. And what do I want? I want to build community. I love being in community. You and I have been to the same conferences. I thrive. My cup is filled by attending those and being around great people. Well, Larry, why aren't you creating that?
Mm,
Well, I hate to say it, I'm scared.
yeah.
I was scared. I'm about to wrap up as president of NSA Carolinas, and there's no longer a conflict of interest for me to create my own community of folks that want to achieve things and want to get out of their comfort zone. So I'll be building a community short term. That's my short term. I'm putting it out there. It's
Yep.
scary. It makes the little hair that I have on my head stand up. Long term, I want to have greater impact. Well, what does that mean, Larry? I want to speak in more places around the globe. I want to make sure that my message and my impact is felt globally. So, knock on wood, and I'm going to manifest it. In March of next year, I'll be at the Global Speaker Summit in Cairns, Australia. My wife will be with me.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the kids have school, so they'll be back in the States. But that's what I have is just international impact, speaking on stages, working with people, building community, and doing it at a greater and grander scale. And that scares me as well, because what if I fail?
Mhm.
What if you fail? Have fun while you're doing it, learn, and then share those learnings with other people. If you fail in silence, shame on you. And I don't like to shame people, but Shame on you. I had a business, a baseball academy that failed. I've shared with everyone. You better know your numbers. And I'm not even a shark. You hear from the Shark Tank, you got to know your numbers. And for me, it wasn't the numbers of batting averages and stolen bases. It's the income statement, the balance sheet, the statement of cash flows. It's the basic fundamentals of business. Know your numbers. You made a comment before about sales. We're all in sales. I encourage you. We're all selling something at some point. I encourage you to invest in your skills, your sales skills, time management, prospecting, discovery, demo, pipeline management, overcoming objections, closing, the post close, and the care and the follow up. Those are things that we can all work on. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with to take yourself to that next level? Those are questions that if you ask yourself and you truly reflect, you're going to see tremendous growth. There's no guarantees in life, but I can guarantee you, you will grow. You will see some progress. Guaranteed.
And well, I'm gonna back that up. You will see guarantees. That is how this thing that we call life works. That is how growth works. That is what it means to get ready. And something that you said there that I really want to just emphasize is this: when I asked you that question about what's ahead and what you're looking at, the way you answered the long term version of that, you started somewhat vague, and then you said, "But Larry, what does that mean?" And I want folks to hear that question. It's so important. You cannot just say, "I want to be bigger." You cannot just say, "I want to work with more people." That doesn't mean enough to actually anchor true action, and it doesn't give you direction. And so where Larry started there with this sort of big and general comment, he refined it, he defined it, and he got it to a point where it's like, hey, this makes sense now. This makes sense now. This is actually a blueprint. There's a game plan. I can actually see myself making the progress and seeing the growth happen before my eyes. And I want you to hear the importance of asking those kind of questions. And that's been a huge takeaway from this conversation, brother. And man, I just appreciate you. You know how much I appreciate you. And if I don't say it enough, I'll say it even more right now. And before I let you go, I want everyone to make sure that they have all the information they need to not only see you each and every day on LinkedIn, but to be able to access you through things like your monthly newsletter. So, brother, tell us where we can find everything and anything we need to know about Larry Long Jr.
Well, first, I want to say thank you, Steve. And the feeling is mutual, man. I appreciate you more than you know it, more than words could ever express. I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep serving and supporting others. I encourage people, don't get ready to get ready. You're already ready for growth. Let's make it happen. If I can ever assist you, please find me on LinkedIn, Larry Long Jr. You'll probably hear me before you see me. You can check out my website, LarryLongJr.com. That's Junior JR, LarryLongJR.com. I'm on other socials, Instagram, TikTok, even though I don't dance, but I would love to connect with you. I would love the opportunity to partner, support, serve, and help you. So please reach out if I can ever be of assistance. Don't be a stranger. And I wish you all the best and continued success. Nothing but love.
Nothing but love. Nothing but love, brother. But hey, listen, you're gonna go away and have a phenomenal day now in Chicago in your sales work. And I just want to reinforce to everybody all that information that Larry just shared will be available in the show notes as well. Larry Long Jr., ladies and gentlemen, brother, appreciate the time.
Thank you, Steve. Peace.
And my thanks again to Larry for joining us on this episode of Growth Ready. And there was an insight there amongst all the energy that Larry Long Jr. brings to any conversation, to any room that he is in, is that of slowing down in order to speed up. You heard all this energy, all this intention, all this excitement out of everything that Larry was providing there and sharing with us. But that key insight, that awareness that he's developed over time, those lessons that he's had to learn the hard way, that in order to go far, we need to slow down. In order to be successful, we need to slow down. There needs to be these moments that if we want to speed up, if we want to see that acceleration on our growth journey to get us to places that we may have never dreamt of getting to, there's a slowing down, an intentional slowing down that must occur. What does slowing down look like in your world? Do you have evidence of it right now? But here's a really interesting question that I want you to sit with as well. Is the way you slowing down serving your ability to speed up? Is the way you're slowing down serving your ability to speed up? You just checking out at the end of the day and scrolling through Instagram for an hour at a time, is Is that version of slowing down really allowing you to speed up in ways that you want to speed up? Could you be more intentional? Could you serve your ability to speed up in the way you slow down? There's so many ways that we can slow down, but we have to put enough of a value on it first to then do the work around what is the most effective way to slow down. So again, I really appreciate that amongst all the energy and the jolt that Larry Long Jr. brought us on this in this conversation, at the same time, at the heart of that message was such a key point around the ability to slow down in order to speed up. So I hope you're able to take that away and just see from Larry's story of how he's becoming in this moment the international speaker that he is because of that deliberate, intentional work that he's done to slow down in order to now go fast, go far, and go far probably beyond what he even thought was possible when he first started on this journey. So again, my thanks to Larry, and as always, my thanks to you for joining us on the show and being a listener. And I hope you are now a subscriber. If you're not, this is a great time to become one. Go ahead, subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're either listening to us on or watching us right now. You'll notice if you're watching us that my background is very different than normal because I've been stuck working from downstairs in my house for a few weeks as I've recovered from a small hip surgery. But my background will be back to normal in no time, don't you worry. But in addition to that, make sure you're sharing the show with folks and rating the show as always. Give us a like on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on the other respective podcast platforms that you're listening to us on as well. In the meantime, folks, as always, best of luck with anything and everything you've got going on in your world. I look forward to doing this with you again real soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to GrowthReady. If you liked what you heard and are feeling ready to grow, be sure to leave a 5-star rating, subscribe to the show, and share the episode with someone you know is ready to fuel their growth journey today. We love our community, so don't hesitate to reach out to us at podcast@growthready.com. And until next time, we are Growth Ready, and you will be too.